Hello once again everyone, JoRaSe here, ready to get back into our Blender game project using models we made in Blender and taking them into 3D Gamestudio. But the pipeline notwithstanding, let's get to it, shall we? So this is where we were last time. We have the simple character move script that we've written out. And now we're going to add some more to it. So, first thing we're going to add is a nested while statement. Because this needs to be a continual thing. So while key underscore CUU for the up cursor key, and here comes the complicated stuff. We're using a predefined bit of code called cmove. And what cmove does, well, you can see it down at the bottom. It will cause the defined entity to move along the given vector in relation to the absolute or second vector, and perform collision detecting along the way. So this is a very, very useful bit of code that we don't have to do all ourselves. So we want the me entity to be the one moving, and the first vector that we want to control here is going to be, and since we're moving it on the green axis or the y-axis here, we've got to tell it that that is the forward axis. So 0 for the x-axis. The y-axis, we're going to go a -3 0.00, well, no, just 0.3 times time step. And if you remember from last time, time step just gives a distance according to the frame duration. And then 0 for the z-axis. Now the second vector, we don't really have anything for, so we're just going to null it out with null vector. And we want to, there. Last thing we want to do is define what collision detection we want. So if we look at the given collision mode flags here at the bottom, We have ignore U, ignores the U entity on collision detection. Ignore flag 2, ignores all entities with flag 2 set. Ignore passable, ignores all passable blocks and entities. Ignore passents, ignores passable model and sprite entities. Don't really need those. Ignore world, ignores all level blocks and terrain. Ignore maps, ignore all map entities. Ignore models, ignore sprites, ignore push. Ignore content, activate trigger, activate push, activate shoot. You get the idea. What we want to do is use the use polygon one. This generates a polygonal hull of all target entities, so collision is not a block around of space, it is the object itself. So we just type in actually, let me go back. We can just copy that, can't we? Make things a fair bit easier here. Paste that in, and there we go. So that's moving the character forward. Let's run it and see. Oh, I need to put in another weight. 1, don't I? Yes, I do. So now let's run it. And if we push the up arrow key, it moves forward and then stops whenever I release the button. Pushing the other arrow does absolutely nothing. If we rotate her around, we can get motion. It's not a fluid rotation, but it is, or a fluid rotation with walking, but we just want the simples. And here's the beauty of the polygon collision. See, I'm able to move the model forward in line with the object itself. Anyway, you get the idea on that. So we've got forward motion, but we don't have animation. And we can do that. So let's do. To do that, we need another bit of code called int animate. And this is going to be what we use to animate what we're doing. And we want the my entity to be animated. And again, we can come down here and see exactly what we need. We need an entity, we need a string, and we need a percentage and a mode. So for our entity, we've got that. Now the string is going to be the name of the animation cycle we made in, or we named the walk cycle in the model editor. And we named it walk. So we just type that in. And now, the next bit, we need a variable. We haven't made a variable yet, so let's make one up at the top. Variables are real simple, var, and whatever you're going to name it. So we'll go walk. It's a percentage, so perk. And because I want to be different, let's go lowercase. And we will put a comment here. Call it the player entities walk animation percentage variable. That's a bit much, but it'll work. And now we can copy it, bring it down here, and paste it in. Now we need to finish off with the var mode. So, var mode, let's see what that is, shall we? Alright, so we've got our various modes. Anim skip, if we don't want the frames to flow fluidly. Anim cycle, cyclic animation scene, like walking or running. That's exactly what we want. So that, we're just going to copy the mode and paste it in. Alright, so that is that. Now, do we think we can actually run it? Let's save it and see. Oh, that looks horrible, doesn't it? And I can tell you why. Because we don't have anything telling the walk percentage to increase or decrease. So to do that, we need to write in another little bit of code right below it. And we're going to go walk perk minus equals, and again 3 times time step. So now if we run it, we should get a fluid animation. And indeed we do. That looks quite nice. Now it would be nice if we could go backwards. Now, I could go through all this again, but why bother? There are just a few things we need to adjust. So we'll just copy all of this and paste it in right here. First thing, change CUU to CUD for the down arrow key. This goes from -3 to 3. And this goes to a plus. Now, if we run it, we should have forward and backwards motion. So here's forward, smooth animation, backwards, smooth animation. And we can turn the model, keep walking, go backwards. I say we've done a fair amount of coding. So let's just make sure we have that saved. And I'll see all of you next time. Hey everyone, hope you enjoyed the video you just watched. If you did, right here, let's move my head over. There we go. Right here is going to be another video in the future for the next in this particular series. And over here is going to be the previous video in this series, along with a subscribe button down below it. So feel free to give that a hit, and be sure to like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't. And let's see. Oh yeah, be sure to leave a comment. I'd appreciate knowing what your thoughts are. Until the next one, everyone.